starting a new, I guess we call it series here on the vlog, and I want you to just follow with me because I have a great concern that in our day in our churches that I understand grace. Okay, grace is incredible, but you do understand that there is not only the power of grace in our life, there's the power of sin. And I'm so thankful for how the Bible tells us that as sin abounded, grace did much more abound. So we understand grace overpowers sin, but we never want to lose the message, the strong message against sin. And so I want to just take you on a journey here on a study called The Attitude of Sin. And we're going to jump on Romans chapter 7, verse 11. It says, "For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, it deceived me and it slew me." So what do we know about sin? It's a deceiver. It deceives, but then after it deceives, it slays us. You know, it's a murderer. It's a killer. It will kill us, okay? Because we know the scriptures, Romans 7:13 says, "But sin, that it might appear sin, worketh death in me by that which is good." That sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. I just want to raise this portion of scripture up about how that he says the attitude of sin is it's exceeding sinful. It's not just a little thing. It's destructive. Okay. Hebrews 3:13 says this way, "But exhort one another daily." Get this, exhort one another daily. Every day of our life, he says, you and I should be exhorting one another in a certain way. Here's what it says in verse 13. It says, "While it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin." And so there should be really, you and I should have a common ground where we talk to one another and we say, "Hey man, keep right, I remember as a young man, I was working at the truck stop and the Lord had I was having revival. And I was hooked up with three other guys for Bible study at 4:30 in the morning there. And one of the things that we did was when we sat down to drink our coffee and do our Bible study, that these guys would just say to me, they said, "We know you've been working here at the truck stop, and we know that, you're around people. Okay, how's your eyes? Have you been keeping your thought life right?" And all that, with that accountability, because they understood, and I began to understand underneath their help that sin is exceeding deceitful, and it'll trick you. Okay, so sin is a terrible foe in the life of the saint of God. It brings such gloom and woe to those who walk it soft. Just a little poem for you. "It never plays fair with those who walk in sin. It deceives and doesn't care whose life it enters in. And when it does, it leaves the soul so sad." You know that to be true. "It drops one off in loneliness, and it makes every relationship bad. It will cost you more than you want to pay. It'll make you say things that you never thought you'd say. It will keep you longer than you want to stay. All of its promises are lies, but it sells itself a momentary highs. It will promise you riches, but will take all that's valuable away. It will promise you fine dress, but leave you in rags. It will promise you intimacy, but will leave you abandoned, living in bags. It will promise you houses, but leave you on the streets. It will promise you that you'll feel good, but it'll make your heart sick. It will tell you that no one will know, but at the most destructive moment, it will pull this curtain to show. It's a monster of the worst kind. It will eat at your very being. It's never satisfied in the mind. It is too violently attacked. It is to be violently attacked. It is to be put to death. It is not to be trusted. It is not to be played with. It's a snake. It's to be stomped. It's a repulsive fiend to be ignored. It is a scorpion with a deadly sting. It's a tormentor of the mind. It's a harasser of the emotions. It's a paralyzer of the will. It's a robber of the heart. It deadens the conscience. I've watched it steal little girls' hearts from their dads. I viewed it as it made a young man curse his mother's face. I've seen it separate the closest of friends. This is the attitude of sin. And we're going to be talking about that. And I hope that you don't see it as negative. I hope you see that it says, man, thank God someone's addressing this monster And let's go after it in these next few weeks in this vlog on the attitude of sin.